Right here, where I'm standing, was Murphy's Theater. 1,100 seats, over 3 stories high. It was the showplace of the town. And over there, that was the Pit Hole Post Office. It was said to be the 3rd busiest by volume in the state of Pennsylvania, besides Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Amazing, huh? Looking at this today, it's hard to believe that this once was a city of over 15,000 people, and now it's gone. All gone. This field was once the city of Pit Hole, Pennsylvania, a thriving, bustling boomtown founded in the heady days of the oil boom of the 1860s. On January 7, 1865, the Fraser Well near this site struck oil. 2 weeks later, the twin wells just south of the Fraser Well also struck oil. In May 1865, A.P. Duncan and George C. Prather purchased the land in the mineral rights for $25,000 and a bonus of $75,000. By the end of May, the wooded bluff overlooking the wells was cleared and a town was laid out. By July, the population was estimated to have been 2,000. By September, it was 15,000, and a contemporary source placed it at 20,000 by December of 1865. But the end of Pit Hole's oil boom came as quickly as its beginning. By December 1866, the population had dropped to 2,000. Prather and Duncan sold their interest in Pit Hole. Prather split an estimated $3 million with his 2 brothers and moved to Meadville, while Duncan returned to Scotland with his fortune. The census of 1870 found only 237 souls left in Pit Hole. 9 years later, only 15 years after this had become a national economic sensation, what was left of Pit Hole was sold to Venango County for $4.37.
There's been energy booms throughout Pennsylvania's history. The first energy boom that comes to mind was the oil boom in the late 1800s. And that was a real game changer. It ended the whale oil industry as we know it. It changed the way the nation, the state, dealt with energy needs and lighting and heating and so forth. And that happened in the late 1800s, but died in the early 1900s. It was a boom and bust cycle, and frequently energy projects are boom and bust cycles. We've seen that in the coal industry, we've seen it in the lumber industry, we see it again in the oil and gas industry here in Pennsylvania. The recent find of the Marcellus gas and deeper gases in Pennsylvania isn't really a geologic find, it's actually exploiting the resource because of modern technology and modern economics. There are fields across the United States and actually across the world that mimic those same conditions, and those fields are also being exploited at the current time. So energy exploiting and energy extraction become an industry that runs through cycles, and those cycles tend to run either with the economics, with the duration or length of the deposit. Nearly every oil and gas well produces for 5 to 10 years and then peters out over an extended life period. These oil wells in Pennsylvania will have the same life expectancy. As a matter of fact, the Marcellus gas appears to have an even shorter life expectancy in terms of its ability to produce a lot of gas over a period of time. What that means is that communities that we're going to see a boom and a sudden rush of money and activity are going to see that rush of activity end sometime in a fairly predictable future. Those businesses, those families, those communities need to plan on how to deal with both the boom and the inevitable bust. That planning means family planning, estate planning, community planning, statewide planning. Communities such as Pit Hole in early days of Pennsylvania had big booms and then died. Communities throughout Pennsylvania are going to see that same kind of activity now. We now can learn from the past, and we can make some plans, make some energy plans, as well as some financial plans. And those are essential for us to have a good future that comes out of this extractive process we're in now.
This land has been in my family for 5 generations. It's part of who we are. So when they told us that there's natural gas underneath our property, We were very excited.
Yes, this land has sustained our family for a long time. But when the gas is gone, there's nobody to put it back in. We want to leave something behind to this community that we love. We want to leave a legacy, something that will benefit the people that are here long after the gas is gone.
The rights holders established an educational endowment fund for the people of their valley. They assigned only 2% of all their future royalty income to the Educational Endowment Fund. It was easy to do, and the expected income from the oil, gas, and mineral rights of their property will guarantee that future generations will have access to the kind of education that will ensure the prosperity of the valley for generations to come.
I remember when I was young, my grandfather would tell me stories about the oil boom days and how things were then. Very exciting times.
We can't bring back the old days, but we can do something to make sure our good fortune doesn't slip away. This is important to us, to leave something for the future from this current energy boom. We have the opportunity to leave a legacy.
One of the greatest things that people can do is leave a charitable legacy. And one of the best parts about a charitable legacy is this, is that you don't have to be wealthy to be a philanthropist. All that you have to do is actually care about your community. So through the years, we've watched people set up family foundations or bequests or an endowment that actually makes a difference in the lives of people. They can make a difference in their place of worship, in a school, in their favorite charitable organization. They can engage their family in the philanthropic process. The biggest part of philanthropy is that it really comes from the heart. And when people have a desire to make their community a better place, when they get engaged in philanthropy, it changes them and it changes their community, not only for the present, but also way into the future. And so one of the best things that people can do is make a difference through a philanthropic gift that keeps on giving for years and years to come. Our community foundation was formed in 1981. There was a local family there was a tragic accident and they lost their 3 children. So what they wanted to do was to create a perpetual memorial for their children. So the O'Brien Children Memorial Fund was the very, very first fund of the community foundation. And over the last 30 years, we've helped people set up family foundations and scholarship funds, field of interest funds, any type of charitable fund that can actually perpetuate their charitable mission. So we have people in our community foundation that provide an annual scholarship every year to a student, or we have one donor that purchases shoes every year for kids that are going to start school. We have another donor that loves to help single working moms. Whatever people's charitable intent is, our job is to help fulfill that mission for them. So what we do is we partner with people that have a charitable intent, and so we help them create a foundation, we help them with the investment management, we oversee the entire process, so that way we take your legacy, the desire that you have to make a difference in the community. We make it simple, we make it easy, it's extremely affordable, and the greatest part is that charitable gift is something that keeps on giving and giving and giving for years and years to come.